Why, hello, friends. Welcome to another game. My name is Tara, and this is where we talk about crafting, and we talk about our lives, and we look at history, and really we just have some fun and, craft. So in that grain, I am finishing one of the berets that I made for our So Long Sunday a few weeks ago. No, wait, it was just last weekend, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So the voice that you just heard was Lawrence.
Hello.
He is the person at the helm. And I am, welcoming everyone here to, if you can believe it, the last So stream of the year.
Oh, why is that?
Well, it would have been next week, except there is a person who I love dearly who is making me skip my own So stream because we are apparently going to see episode 9 instead in theaters.
Yeah, well, that happens on the Thursday, but we are watching all of the films back to back over 2 days.
So they start the night before. It's going to be a really long 2 days, but it'll be well worth it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's why we're not having one next week. And then, of course, the week after that is Christmas Day. And so my thought is that most of us, not all of us, but most of us will probably be with our family doing, Christmassy stuff. So I would not want to infringe upon that. And I also seriously doubt that a lot of you will be even available to be able to do a So stream. So we're not going to do one that day. And then the week after that, it is New Year's Day and I will be out of town. So I will not be able to do a So stream that week either. So the next time that you will see me is going to be the 8th of January, 2020. We will be in the roaring 20s, my friends. And as such, we are going to be talking probably a lot about the 20s in the next few months. But Lawrence, why don't you tell me who we got?
Well, we have a few folks in the house. Only one has revealed their identity, and that would be Cassiopeia. Hello, Cassiopeia.
Hello there.
She says she likes your hair.
Why, thank you. It was kind of a last-ditch attempt at trying out one of those Marla Von Duda tutorials on Instagram. And I feel like it was a pretty good first attempt. So we'll see if we do more kind of 40Z curly toppy things. I don't know what this is actually called, but it feels like a halo to me. Halo hairdos in the future. Now that my hair is getting a little bit longer. If you are watching right now and you have not said hello, please don't be shy. Everyone is welcome here and we welcome your comments. So please have those side conversations with our community members if you so choose. And today we are going to be talking about giving the gift of vintage and crafting. So I have compiled a little list of things that I think might be really good gifts for people who love vintage and people who love to craft. But certainly feel free to chime in the comments yourself because I want to hear your ideas as well. I'm very curious to know what you plan to get for the vintage lover in your life, or if you're like me and you don't really know anybody who loves vintage on the level that you do, maybe you're padding your own Christmas list, right? So here are some ideas for you as well, not just for people who you can buy for. So let's get into it. The first one I want to talk about is gifts for people who you don't really want to spend a lot of money on, but you know that they are vintage lovers. So we're talking like $25 and below. And the first thing that I thought of was hat pins and lapel pins. Lapel pins are like super, super popular in the vintage community right now. There are lots of sellers who are making them bespoke, which is pretty cool. But you can also find vintage ones like this one in weird places like, secondhand shops and Goodwills and stuff. And the same with the hat pins. And if you find a vintage hat pin and it's kind of beaten up or it's really pretty dirty, all you have to do is soak it in like a baking soda and water mix. And hopefully all of that dirt will come right off. There, of course, if it is like a stainless steel or a silver hat pin, then you can also find stainless steel and silver polishes as well to fix your hat pins with so that you can gift them to someone who might like them. So hat pins were the first thought. And of course, lapel pins. And in both cases, you can definitely use baking soda to clean them. I've done so before. It works beautifully and it doesn't usually harm the material. Of course, if you know what the material is made out of, I would also look that information up as well. But mostly baking soda will do the trick on pretty much anything, if I'm honest. The second thing that I'm thinking is $25 and below on crafters. So people who like to craft, who like to do things with their hands, like myself and most of you fine folks who are here tonight. And that one is actually not necessarily as much about the doing as it is about the pursuing. So my thought is either an Audible subscription, something where they can listen as they work, or just a book about their favorite craft. So in my case, I'm a costume designer. I was by trade for a little while, and I just love design in general. So this is probably the quirkiest design book that I own, which is a history of IKEA. I love it. It's a beautiful book. I'm not saying that this is sponsored at all because it's not, but I'm just saying like this is a cute, quirky book that isn't super expensive. That would be a great gift for somebody who loves design, for example. So if, again, you're not looking to spend a ton of money, but you know that somebody knows or loves a specific type of craft work, get them a book on it or get them a subscription of something that they'll read that has to do with that specific craft. Lawrence, do we have any ideas in the comments so far this evening?
I wouldn't say necessarily ideas, but we do have a common theme that your hair is amazing. This is coming from everyone who's on the live stream at the minute, has commented on just how great your hair and how festive it is.
Well, thank you very much. That was the idea. I tried to make it as festive as possible for you guys tonight.
Actually, this might be the best one. This is coming from Peg. Your whole look is like a mythic snow queen. I love it.
Oh, I love that. Yay. I was going more for like 1940s chaperone at the Christmas dance, but I much prefer Snow Queen.
Well, that brings us on to Tartan Taffy's question, who asks, is that a Marla von Duter inspired hairstyle?
It is indeed. Yeah, and I'm not sure how well I did it. It was my first attempt at anything even remotely similar to this before. These kinds of, her tutorials are really cool, but they intimidate the hell out of me just because I usually will like set my pins, forget them, and then, take them out. I feel really awkward about putting a whole bunch of pins in my hair, especially like in places where you can see it pretty well, and then leaving them there. It makes me feel weird during the day. So this is my first attempt, and I actually don't hate it. So I'll probably do more of these in the future. So what else we got?
Well, I should really just point out that the people that have joined, other than Cassiopeia from the start.
Obviously, Tartan Tabby and Peg.
Yes, and Dorothy as well, who has some kind words for your hair.
Hello, thank you.
Shauna, who likewise has kind words for your hair. And we have Corrine as well, who talks about your hair being festive and flattering. And we have, Passiat 1027, loving the hair too, super cute. Beth Meredith, hello Beth. And I think I'm all caught up.
Great. So let's continue on. Again, please chime in if you have somebody in your life who you are buying for who is a vintage lover like myself, or if you yourself just know exactly what you want on your Christmas list that is either vintage or craft theme related, then I want to hear about it. So please let me know in the chat box. So number 3, the third thing on my list, is for those of us who maybe want to be better about being eco-friendly or want to be more sustainable in our lives. And that is something that they can make something with. So for example, the first thing that came to mind for me was a candle kit. You can buy candle kits in lots of different department stores. But the one that I like the best, and I hope that they still have it on the website because I didn't have time to look, Townsend's, which you guys all know that I am in love with. Townsend's has a candle making kit, which is really, really cool. They used to carry it at least a few years ago. I don't know if they still have it or not. If you can actually take a look and share it with everyone, the link, if you find it in the chat box, then that would be great. But that is a really cool kit. The other thing that I was thinking of for that specific type of gift is a yogurt maker, which of course I have a yogurt maker. And the reason why this is a great gift for somebody who's sustainable is it replenishes itself. So literally buy anything that you can use over and over and over again, and also even make the same types of things with it over and over and over again without buying additional supplies, if you know that that person may not use those additional supplies all the time, right? Or they'll go to waste. Things like yogurt makers are a really great investment because, again, I don't know, we don't have to buy yogurt, and haven't for years, in fact, because you just start with yogurt and milk, and then you make yogurt. Number 4, so vintage inspired, but actually brand new appliances. So right now, I think the company Smeg is really important, is really popular. And I'm not going to lie, if it were up to me and I actually owned a house or an apartment of some sort, I would absolutely deck out all of my appliances in Smeg. But I also really love KitchenAid. You've got Cuisinart. There are a number of different, appliance companies that make appliances that are either vintage inspired or are truly just vintage in that they've been going for so long that you can trust that they're still going to be the same exact thing that your grandmother used, 50 years ago or whatever it might be. And a really good example of that is the KitchenAid, mixer appliance specifically is something that people have been using for almost 100 years now. So yeah, those are really good gifts for somebody who loves vintage stuff and loves to make things specifically. What do we got, Lawrence? Anybody have any ideas or any padding of their own Christmas list so far?
Yes, plenty of ideas. Before I get to those, just a hello to Susan, who's joining us for the first time tonight.
Why, hello, Susan. Welcome to the club.
And some of the ideas that have come in, we have, let me see, Passy at 1027, I tend to get people books. There are endless options for nearly everyone. And then let me just go back here because quite a few comments came in. Books on crafting are always a winner for me, says Peg. I'd love to see a list of your favorites.
Ooh, I might have time for that. That sounds like a really good blog post. So maybe I'll get to that by the end of the year. For certain, though, I am going to be talking about my goals. And one of those goals is kind of a book club on here. So we're gonna talk more about that in the next few weeks. But be paying attention to my blog and to my social media feeds, because I will tell you more about that in a few weeks from now, if not in the next week or so. We'll see how it all pans out. Yes.
And Tartan Tabby says that my BBFL, I don't know abbreviations these days.
BBFL.
How the kids talk, but got me a gingerbread house mold, so I didn't have to buy a bunch of kits every year.
Nice. I really love that. I actually, I'm hoping, we've had so many tech issues, guys. I don't know if you noticed or not, but tonight we, of course, were actually late getting on to this live stream because, once again, the tech was not playing very well. So my hope is that at some point we can move past this. We're in the middle of trying to upgrade some equipment, and that's going to hopefully help in the next few weeks. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to happen, my hope is that I can actually get some more videos out. I had a whole bunch of videos planned for you. And unfortunately, because of so many tech issues that we've had, and of course, Lawrence being in the middle of Vlogmas, my stuff has kind of taken a backseat to all of that. So we're going to hopefully be able to get that stuff caught up. And if we are, then I might make a gingerbread house. That was one of the things that I had planned for you. If not, it'll be next year, because I make a gingerbread house anyway every year. I have for a number of years now. I absolutely love the process. I think that I'm pretty good at it, if I'm honest. I've always had really happy feedback from people, and I have a really, really good gingerbread recipe that I want to share with everyone. So that said, I'm not promising that, but I'm hoping that it happens in the next week or two. And if it does, you will be the first to know. Don't worry.
BFFL, by the way, is best friend for life.
Oh, fun. BFFL.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. What else we got?
So yes, we do have some other comments. Kareen, I have a KitchenAid going on 40 plus years.
There you go.
There you
See? Vintage in the truest sense of the word.
Yep, absolutely. And and Jenny says, hi, Jenny, by the way. My KitchenAid mixer was a wedding gift. It lasted longer than my marriage.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you still have the KitchenAid. We, fun fact, Lawrence and I actually got eloped. So we never actually had a reception and thus never really had any gifts from anyone. And I am still holding out 11 plus years later on that KitchenAid. I'm still waiting for it. So I'm hoping that
I'll get on the phone to my Aunt Rose.
very, very soon we will have a bigger apartment and then we'll be able to get something like that in the near future. So stay tuned to that as well, because things are forever changing around here. I don't know if you've noticed that or not recently. So yeah, there we are.
Cassiopeia says, I don't have anyone to buy or make vintage for. They are modern era lovers. I am the only one interested in vintage. I was just gifted my husband's great-grandma's wedding ring set. I cried.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm so glad that you were able to get that from her, or from her family at least. Yeah, that's amazing. And like I said, this isn't necessarily just for you to go and buy out stores for other people or make things for other people. This is for you as well, to keep in mind for what to ask for if somebody asks you, because these things are good for us too, right?
There is excitement to be had in the comment section for the book club.
Oh, good.
And Jay Joy, welcome, Jay Joy. Jay Joy says, I once gave homemade cookie dough with the recipe and a cookie cutter. I had to tell them to put the present in the fridge, though. Of course.
I love that. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Something that people can make if they like to make things. It's great. I think that the most important thing to do, though, when we're thinking about these things, no matter what it is that you decide to do, think about the person's wants, what makes them tick, right? What turns them on in terms of like what they're interested in making or doing or being motivated by, and then working backward from there. And if you can do that, then it really doesn't matter if you spend anything at all, right? You could just make something for someone and it would still be just as special, as long as you're like thinking about what that person does in their own life to make them happy. And then if you can, of course, use your gift to encourage even more happiness on that front, then it's probably going to be priceless, whether it was $2 or $200, right? So along those lines, number 5, for somebody who's maybe just starting out as a crafter, I was thinking maybe just package your own basic supplies in kind of like a gift basket type thing. So if it's somebody who wants to learn to cook, a bowl and a spoon. And then of course, if you just package this neatly, that's good enough, right? Maybe some knitting needles and a skein of yarn with maybe a beginner's pattern. That's something I need since I have no idea how to knit. Or even, again, going back to the sustainability thing, something that replenishes itself and that they can make that is like in the form of a kit so that they can learn a basic skill while they're doing that thing. And then I'm going to go to a bonus here in just a sec. But before I do that, I really, really want to honor really everybody who has contributed so far as a crafter. I didn't choose a specific crafter this week just because I'm just so elated that we have this community and it's the end of the year. And I was just reflecting on how much this means to me and how much, you guys being here for this every single week and interacting with us, it means the world to me. So thank you to all of you. Rather than having a crafter of the week, it's just basically like love for the whole group. And we will, get back to going over individuals and the cool things that they do in the new year, because I'm just so happy that this opportunity has kind of arisen for us to create this community that I feel like we all need to like move out of this year with a bang. And it doesn't make sense for me to just like honor one person when we're all creating this thing that's just kind of amazing. And it's at its very start, which I love. So yeah, there's that. And then going back to that whole situation of knowing somebody likes to craft things and then making something like a cookie dough for them, you can't go wrong with making something for someone as well that that they're going to like. So, for example, If you know that you have a sister who wears hats all the time, of course, you can make them a hat. If you know that you have, a brother-in-law that really loves to eat, then you can make them a tin of different cookies. Or Lawrence is looking at me because he's like, why don't you make me a tin of cookies?
Oh, no, I was just thinking I have such a brother-in-law too.
Oh,
so,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you can make something, and sometimes that's going to mean even more than, buying something. And it's also going to be better on our wallets, right? So along those lines, the other thing that I'm going to encourage you to do, which comes directly out of like every Victorian lady's home journal ever, is to package your gifts using, in this case now, of course, it would be like a vintage or a vintage type of fabric, or maybe you want to use a lace, or something that is just really pretty, and then packaging whatever your gift is with said fabric, and then maybe with a ribbon, just to kind of seal the deal. The other thing that you could do that would be just as tasteful and beautiful, and kind of a surprise too, because I think that most of the time when people are looking for tins, for example, under the tree, then they're thinking, oh, this must be cookies or candy or something. But what if you actually packaged your gift inside that tin and then tied it with a bow instead? I think that would be a really fun surprise, because maybe somebody's thinking, again, I'm going to just get the cookies that come in the tin, and the tin cost $1, when in actuality it's something way cooler. And along those lines, we still have my giveaway going on for 1,000 subscribers. And when I get out 2 videos from now, because again, they're scheduled, they're planned, I just haven't been able to get them out yet because of our technical issues, then I will be giving away this tin with a little surprise in it. So if you would like to be part of the drawing for this lovely Christmas tin with a surprise, you have 2 videos to go. Sign up for my mailing list on oldfashionedaf.com, and I will send it to one of you fine folks. I'm very excited about this little gift. I feel like it's kind of a cute little inside joke between all of us, and I think that whoever gets it is going to be really happy with it. So make sure you sign up today. The other thing that you can do if you are in a very, very giving mood is, again, as I said before, we are trying really hard here at Old Fashioned AF to upgrade some of the materials that I use to film, to edit, to do the things with that Lawrence doesn't use. And it's been a struggle. So if you are interested in supporting Old Fashioned AF, then you can go to patreon.com/oldfashioned_AF. And you will also be able to look back on previous So Long Sundays that we've done. We've done 2 so far, and both of them I feel like are really cool tutorials. You will also be able to see all of the breadth of writing that I've done on there so far this year. But I'm also thinking about changing my tiers for Patreon very soon. So be looking for that, because I'm going to hopefully add on a secondary tier in addition to the $5 one that gets you all of the bonus materials in the near future, because we are over 2/3 of the way toward my first goal, which is 25 patrons. Once I get to 25 patrons, I want to start doing secret live streams in addition to our public so streams. So once that happens, I will have another tier just for that. And I want you to sign up for it, and I want you to be there for it. So make sure that you go to patreon.com/oldfashioned_AF, and I will see you there, and hopefully see you there with better tech. That's the idea. So yeah, I've got this probably wrapped up the best that I possibly can. But of course, what actually makes it pretty is if you take a ribbon and you wrap it up that way. So I definitely advocate for taking a ribbon if you're going to do like the vintage fabric or lace thing, and wrapping it up with a bow to make it all the more adorable. And of course, unlike me, you should probably like take the time to wrap it correctly, but we only have so much time here tonight, right? So along those lines, Lawrence, what we got in the comments tonight?
Well, a belated hello to those of who have joined sort of in the second half. We have Sandra, who's on the, I was about to say webinar again. I have to stop myself doing that. On the live stream. We also have Miss Margaret. Hello. We have, who else did I just see that? Mandy Story is in the house. And the Walker as well. So hello to you fine folks, and I hope I didn't miss any others. But we've had plenty of comments come in since the last time we went to the comments. What is it? Oh, Shauna says, I love the glass bottle idea too, and especially the book club. A lot of love for the book club in here, in fact. And let's see, Tart and Tabby, I like to make handmade cards and name tags for gifts. And that's interesting. Peg says, I used to really love handmade papers, and I'd wrap special gifts in some of those fancy papers.
Yes, I love handmade papers too. And I think that that's a fabulous idea. Somebody who I worked with a long time ago used to do paper marbling, and I would buy paper marbling from her occasionally, and I would wrap gifts in that too. So yes, that is a fabulous idea. Always buy, handmade paper, vintage paper, wherever you can find something that's already been used, but still looks like it needs and appreciates the love that it receives. It's a great thing to wrap with. Because everybody else, no matter who it is and no matter what party you're going to, is going to have the exact same wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, right? We don't want to do that, because not only is it like wasteful for the planet, it's just not as cool. It's so much more fun if it's something that's unique and is going to be, appreciated or oohed or awed at. Or in this case, like this is a scarf that I just wrapped this with. So that person, not only are they going to get what's inside, but they're going to have a scarf in addition to that, which is really cool, right? So yes, definitely, like, whatever you do, make your wrapping something that is really cool and sustainable and unique to you. Because I think that that's almost half the fun, right, of trying to get to the gift is trying to unwrap it. And the more creative you can be with that, the better.
Another hello, another few hellos. Stacey Darlington, Out to Sea, and Piper's Fun. Welcome to the live stream. Hello.
Yes.
And let's see, I may have missed some comments. They have flashed before my eyes. Susan says, I got some wedding gifts years ago, wrapped in lace and ribbon.
See, I love that. That's like my favorite thing in the world to do. And I think that everyone should do that. But that's, of course, my own bias speaking right now, which I guess is what we're all here for, right?
It is indeed. We have 1 minute remaining. We do have another comment. This is from Tart and Tabby, who says, I have a stock of 40s and 50s gift wrap from my partner's uncle and aunt.
That's amazing. And I hope you use it too, because that's the other thing that really kind of irks me, is that I know that and in fact, I used to be this way. And maybe that's the reason why it irks me so much now that I kind of live this lifestyle on a regular basis. That, people will get things like that and they'll just covet them and then they don't use them. And it just sits and it collects dust. Collects dust, which I find kind of infuriating, because if you're not going to have those things to use, then why do you have them? It's not like that's something that you can actually like display on a wall or can be used in any kind of other manner outside of what its intended purpose is for, unless you're using it in some kind of creative way as well, besides wrapping gifts. But I think that the point is that I took way too long to get to, is that everything needs to be used. Otherwise, what's the point?
Another shout out for your hair from Piper's Fun.
Thank you.
And we also go on from Sandra, I should say, as well. So
thank you very much.
Universally loved hair. And Manda's Ink, hello, says, I like to make my own stamps and use them to make patterns on brown postal wrap for wrapping paper. It's fun and looks great. That
is amazing. And you need to share that with all of us on social media. So of course, you know that I'm on Instagram, oldfashioned _AF, right? Yes. And same with Twitter. You can share on Facebook, Old Fashioned AF Official. And like I said, I just want to see all the cool things that you guys do. So again, last live stream of the year. We will be back on the 8th. hopefully with some new technical equipment. That's cross fingers. We'll see. And in the meantime, be looking for some videos and some posts on oldfashionedaf.com. And if you want to support us in this endeavor of ours, whether it's the Sew Stream or the videos or any of my blog posts or my experiments with food or with crafting, then you can go to patreon.com/oldfashioned_AF and become a patron today and be looking for that new tier because we're getting closer all the time. I'm so excited. So there you have it. Happy holidays, folks.
Happy holidays. And right there at the end, Sharon says, love your hair.
Bye.
Bye, Sharon. Bye, Sharon. Bye, everyone. Have a great time. Great week.